Is that a trick question? They gave up Kwame Brown.
We in here talking about practice.
This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play.
We talking about practice.
I'm most happy that Jesus Christ did not let me lose my teeth when I was 20 years old.
Hey, this is Charles Barkley. I'm a dumbass.
But I was wondering, like, what if you kept your baby teeth until the age of 18 or 20 and then you lose them? That would look pretty bad.
Airballs with Turner and Fulco.
What is up, everybody? Airballs episode 3. Trevor Turner and Hugo Fulco, and today we talk about the most exciting trade deadline of all time, the All-Star Weekend recap, and of course the passing of Jerry Buss, and we give you our top 5 dunks of all time. Hugo, welcome aboard, and try not to get up too fast from excitement from that trade deadline.
Hey man, what's going on? Yeah, underwhelming to say the least. It's been a tough week, especially being a Lakers fan. Dr. Jerry Buss was, we'll get to that a little later, but he was quite simply the greatest owner in professional sports. So, quite a sad week. Trade deadline, as I said, very underwhelming. When JJ Redick is the biggest deadline day move, you know there's not much going on there, but yeah, we'll get to some of the trades.
I think the biggest thing about this trade deadline, it was all about Josh Smith. And he wasn't the only name being floated out there. Some other names, you heard the Danny Granger rumors, you heard some of the Rajon Rondo rumors, but in general, it was a bunch of B caliber players with big time price tags on them in contract years. And I get that Josh Smith was available, but frankly, if you're paying him for a rental, one, you have to think about it this way. You have to pay him a max deal if you're going to be giving up value for him to get him in a trade. So in other words, this was pretty much Josh Smith's max deal moment because he's not going to get one this offseason. The only way he was going to get one is if he was traded to a team who in turn gave up a couple of draft picks, a couple of young prospects, and thus committed themselves to him. Because he didn't get traded, it means Josh Smith is going to get a max deal, and frankly, he's not deserving of one. So it looked like he was going to be going to San Antonio yesterday. There was a chance, but there was never anything really substantial there. And so this was the Josh Smith trade deadline, and he didn't get traded. So in the end, pretty much a non-event.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I don't think he's a max player, but I think there are general managers out there who are stupid enough. I mean, we've seen it time after time. You think it'll end, and it never does. There's some team out there who will shell out max money for a player like Josh Smith, who quite frankly can put a playoff team, a mid-range playoff team over the top given the right fit. I mean, we talked about Brooklyn last week. I think that was probably his best fit.
Yeah.
It would have given them a solid starting five there. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I saw Milwaukee's name got floated around, and Josh Smith actually welcoming the possibility to play in Milwaukee, which is quite frankly really surprising. But a trio of Josh Smith, Monte Ellis, and Brandon Jennings does not make you championship caliber.
There are only so many terrible shots to go around.
Especially if Josh Smith gets comfortable with that 3-point shooting again, like that guy, his forte, let's just say it's not the 3-point shooting, but he settles for that shot way too much. Well, he used to. He's improved now, but he used to settle for that way too much. And if he did go to the Bucks, oh my God, it would be like over 100 shots a game for those three.
One of the big name that seemed to be a likely destination was San Antonio. And at first you think, you know what? That's actually not a bad move because you already have Timmy at the 5. You have Manu coming off the bench and playing the 2, Parker at the 1, and then a bunch of role players around him. You think, man, Josh Smith could really add some energy to that group. But frankly, when you really break it down, the biggest thing that Greg Popovich preaches constantly is the idea that, the idea that his players not only have ability, but they fit in and they buy into what they do in San Antonio. Josh Smith buys into what Josh Smith does. When he's on the floor, he needs to be a focal point and his game needs to be accounted for. He doesn't fit into a larger puzzle. The puzzle fits to him. And so When looking at it a little bit closer, I thought, maybe that's not as great a fit as I initially thought. We saw it with Richard Jefferson a little bit. Richard Jefferson came to San Antonio. We thought it was going to be, a great addition to the team. Now he was older, but it never really panned out. So I think maybe San Antonio made the right call not trading for him.
Yeah. Pop is all about discipline, and that system works because they've got disciplined role players who know their place. And then you've got quiet stars who get it done on a nightly basis. Tony Parker carrying most of the load this year, but Tim Duncan's having an unbelievable season, even by his standards, kind of turning back the clock, really. And Manu does what he does, contributes off the bench, and really just sometimes they rely on him to take over in fourth quarter situations. So, yeah, Josh Smith isn't really the Spurs type player. I think the one anomaly in the Spurs system is Steven Jackson. But
see, I don't know, though. You say that because you think, well, he's a knucklehead, so clearly he doesn't fit into what a smart coach would like. But it seems like San Antonio's always brought out the best in Steven Jackson.
Yeah,
second stint there,
Yeah, and then that's the point I was trying to make. I think maybe, just maybe, Josh Smith could be obviously an upgrade over Steven Jackson, but the same type of player that maybe Popovich could mold. But we've seen other examples such as Richard Jefferson, like you stated, that didn't pan out. So if I'm San Antonio, I don't trade for him just because it's such a gamble and they have such a good thing going. They were one Game 3 performance away last spring, so against the Thunder, of making the finals. So I think if I'm San Antonio, I stand pat. So I think they made the right call there.